Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Chetan Jain, and I'm the Director of Study Smart Overseas Education. Today, we'll be talking a little about why you should consider studying in Ireland if you're looking to study abroad. Before we get into the actual crux of the presentation, let me tell you a little about myself. I have over 10 years of experience in the education sector. I have myself studied in the UK and worked with various universities across the UK. Done a lot of consultation work for various education bodies like Education Ireland, the British Council, New Zealand Education, right? And I've been running my own consultancy firm for the last 5 years. And Study Smart as an organization helps students who want to study abroad across all English-speaking countries. And we have our offices in Pune, Delhi, Gurgaon, and Ahmednagar, right? So without taking more time, let me get started with the presentation regarding studying in Ireland. Right. So firstly, let's talk a little about Ireland first. A little about the country. So Ireland as a country, a lot of people think it's a part of the UK, which is actually not the case. It's not a part of the UK. It is a separate country altogether. It's a part of the EU. So there are two countries. There's Northern Ireland and there's Republic of Ireland. Northern Ireland is a part of UK and comes under the United Kingdom, which is a small part of the island. But the Republic of Ireland is a part of the European Union. The population of Ireland as of today is around 4.8 million people. Like I said, Ireland is a part of the European Union, and the currency that is used in Ireland is euros. It is primarily an English-speaking country. A lot of people do speak Irish as well, but it's primarily an English-speaking country. For those of you who like sports, it's a pretty sports-focused country as well, and you'll find that quite a few sports are popular there: football, handball, horse racing, and so on and so forth. Right. Moving on. Here is a small map of Ireland just to give you an idea of what Ireland looks like. It's a fairly small country, like we said, it's just got a population of about 4.8 million. What is interesting is that majority of the population in Ireland is focused in some of the main cities. So obviously the capital is Dublin, and there are popular cities like Galway, Limerick, Cork, Waterford, Dundalk. These are the popular cities, and you'll find that close to 70% of the population is concentrated in these areas, which makes it popular for students to go to the big cities rather than go to remote areas in Ireland. Uh, like you can see on the map there is a small part called Northern Ireland, which still belongs to the UK, separate country altogether, and Ireland is a separate country altogether. So don't get confused by that. Right. Let's talk a little about the climate. Obviously, the climate is very important for students, especially when they're taking the decision of going to a different country. Obviously, you want to go to a climate which is easier for you to acclimatize coming from a hot country like India, right? So, because Ireland is an island and it's close to the ocean, it has, I would say, fairly average climate. So it's not as cold as the UK or as cold as Canada or some of the other countries, right? You will see typically the spring is from Feb to April, right, where the temperatures go up to about 13 degrees. May to July is, or rather, I would say July to August is typically the summer, which is the warmest month, right? And what's interesting is that you get 18 hours of sunlight during the summers. So right up to 11 in the night, there will be daylight. So it really makes it very vibrant, and your energy levels feel much higher because you have sunlight for a longer duration, and you tend to kind of last. The days feel much longer then, right? The winters can get cold. The highest temperatures during the winters is 7 degrees, and every now and then you will have temperatures that drop below 0 degrees. At the peak of the winters, but it never really goes extremely in the minus kind of a temperature that you would find in Canada or UK. So comparatively, it definitely has better climatic conditions to live in. Right. Very importantly, let's talk about the economy of Ireland. What are the main sectors? So the main sectors are services, pharmaceutical, information technology. These are some of the main sectors. Ireland has been very committed to an open market policy. Trade is very important to their economy. So they have what we call open borders, and they are currently trading with free. There's free trade across the entire European Union. So that gives them a little bit of an advantage. As an economy, they have been growing continuously for the last 24 years. But obviously, when the global recession hit the entire world, even Ireland was not immune to it. So they did get into a recession between 2008 and 2009, but their growth rate again picked up to a 2.2%. After that, went up to 4.8% in 2014, and the recent, that is 2017, it's been at a 6.1%, making it one of the fastest growing economies in the EU region. So there are about 26 countries in the European Union. It is one of the fastest growing economies, so that makes it an attractive place for students, right? It also ranks ninth in the world when it comes to economically being free. So that means that the borders are pretty open. They welcome trade, cross-border trade. So again, for students who ever want to study business or want to start their own business in Ireland, it's a good place to do that. Right. What are the main industries? Now, as a student, you want to know when you're choosing a country, whatever line that you're choosing to do your career in, or you want to do a master's or a bachelor's in that stream, the country you're choosing should have the industry presence. So today, if you go to a country where there is no industry for say IT, for example, right, and you want to study your master's in computing, or you want to study a master's in IT, there's no point in going to a country that doesn't have an industry, because you'll not have any career scope. Hence, if you're choosing Ireland, you should very well be aware of what are the top industries there, so that you know what are your good chances of getting a job if you're planning to study in that sector. So the alcoholic beverage industry is one of the largest industries there, employs close to 90,000 people, and contributes around 2 million euros to the economy. Financial sector is very fast growing now, and again contributes over 2 billion to the economy. It is also the seventh largest provider for financial service in Europe. One interesting geopolitical situation is kind of unfolding right now, which is giving a big advantage to Ireland. So as you guys might be aware that the UK has decided to exit from the EU, popularly called as the Brexit, right? What this does is that UK was the only English-speaking country other than Ireland in the EU region. So a lot of financial companies were very heavily invested in London, so that they could target the EU market from there. So a lot of banks, financial companies had their headquarters in London, the European headquarters in London. Now, because the EU will no longer be, UK will no longer be a part of EU, a lot of the businesses are moving to Ireland, because Ireland is an English-speaking country, and no other European country is an English-speaking country, and the common language of finance is English. So it has given a massive boost to the financial sector of Ireland, because a lot of companies are shifting base from London to Ireland. So if you're looking to study finance, it is one of the most lucrative places to study finance in right now, right? The aircraft leasing industry is very, very big. So Ireland manages close to 22% of the world global fleet, and 40% of the global fleet share, that is leasing of the aircrafts, is done by Ireland. So companies like Boeing have massive hangars, and a lot of operations are based out of Ireland. So if you want to do anything related to aerospace, to airline, aircraft management, these kind of courses will have a lot of scope there. Now, obviously, the engineering sector is very, very big. This is primarily, again, because of the aircraft sector being big. So a lot of support sectors of the engineering are required. So mechanical engineering is required, automotive is required, aerospace is required, electrical is required. So again, it's a good place to do engineering courses. You'll have good scope once you are able to finish your master's or bachelor's there, right? One of the largest sector in Ireland is the information technology and communication sector, right? So there are over 700 IT companies, and some of the top companies like Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, they have their headquarters in Ireland, right? It is also one of the largest exporters for software in the world. So it's the second largest exporter of software. So any student looking to do a master's in information technology, computing, software engineering, it's an excellent place to do that. You'll have tremendous opportunities, right? You'll be surprised to know that some of the top pharma companies of the world are also situated in Ireland. So the likes of Pfizer are in Ireland. So it is again a massive industry. So for pharma students, it's an attractive destination to study in. And obviously exports, like I said, they have a free trade policy. So they're very big on import export. So Ireland does export a lot to the EU region as well, right? So these are some of the main industries that are currently, in Ireland. So if you're looking to study in Ireland, these are some of the top industries you should be targeting. Right. Let's now talk a little about why you should study in Ireland. So Ireland, the government invests over 782 million euros every year on research and developing the infrastructure of the institutes. So you'll find that majority of the institutes in Ireland are government funded, and they're very research focused. So the institutes have a lot of revenue that they generate through research grants. How does this benefit you? Obviously, whatever additional revenue they're generating, they're pumping it back into improving the infrastructure there. So a lot of government support is available, plus a lot of private funding is available, which makes sure that all the Irish institutes have the top-notch facilities for their students, right? They provide very good quality of education. Their qualifications are globally recognized, and it's a rapidly growing economy, so it makes it a perfect place for you to study. Ireland is also an English-speaking country, so language is not a barrier. What happens is a lot of students these days want to study in Germany or France or Switzerland, other European countries, but they don't realize that these countries language is a massive barrier because they're not English-speaking countries. So today, if you want to study abroad, you should ideally be looking at only English-speaking countries, so that your transition from India to whichever country you go to is easier. Helps you in finding part-time jobs easily, helps you in finding full-time jobs easily. So it's always recommended that you choose an English-speaking country, and Ireland benefits there because it's an English-speaking country. Ireland again has a young and a very vibrant population. Close to 40% of the population of Ireland is below the age of 25. So you'll find that the people are young. A lot of music festivals happen there. People like being outdoors. People like going, for events. So it's a very vibrant culture. So for an international student, you'll get to experience a lot. So the exposure levels for an international students are really, really good. And it also makes it a friendly place. People are very warm and welcoming. So as an international student, you'll never feel like an outsider. And again, there are over 35,000 international students studying there from over 110 countries. So you're never going to be the only international student there. In most of the colleges, I would say close to 15 to 20% of the students are international students. So you're never going to feel out of place. Right, moving on. The good thing in Ireland, or the universities in Ireland, is that they accept even 15 years of education if you're looking to do your masters. So there are quite a lot of countries that require 16 years of education. So if you want to study in that country, you have to have a 4-year bachelor's. So students who have done BCom or a BBA or a 3 years bachelor's course, they are not eligible to apply. So that's not the case with Ireland. Ireland also accepts 15 years of education. And similarly for undergrad students, they even accept up to 12 years of education. There are some countries that require up to 13 years of education. So that's again a benefit for students. Very important, a lot of students obviously want to work in the country after they finish their course. So currently, Ireland provides a 2-year post-study work visa. That means once you finish your course successfully, you are eligible for a 2-year work permit. There are no other criteria here. There are no other ifs and buts attached to it. As long as you have successfully completed your course, you will get the 2-year work permit. So you have a guaranteed stay back of 2 years where you can work for 2 years. Just want to interrupt a little here. I will be answering the questions towards the end of the session. I'm getting some messages regarding questions. So I'll be taking all the questions at the end of the presentation. Right, coming back to the work permit. So it gives you a guaranteed work permit for 2 years. So for 2 years, you can for sure stay back in the country and work and recover some of the investment that you've made. And even after you finish your 2 years of work permit, there are a lot of PR opportunities available where you can apply for the green card. So I would say 90% of the students who have gone to Ireland have been able to secure their work permit and then go on to secure their green card. So if you're the kind of a student who wants to stay there for a few years, work there for a few years, or even want to migrate in that country, there are excellent PR opportunities available in the country, right? There is easy part-time and full-time work available. So all students, while you're studying, you're allowed to work 20 hours a week, and you're allowed to work 40 hours a week during your semester breaks. How this helps is that as a student, you can easily manage your own living expenses. So your parents only have to fund you for your tuition fees. Your living expenses you can easily manage because the minimum wage in Ireland is 9.25 euros. So if you work, say, on an average 100 hours a week, you will easily earn between 800 to 900 euros per month, which is more than enough to manage in a country like that, more than enough to survive in the country. Your food, travel, accommodation will easily cover with your part-time work. So the only real investment you're making is your tuition fees, right? Right, excellent job opportunities. Like we already discussed, it's a growing economy. It has presence of some of the most top companies. So it's an ideal place to start your career because job opportunities are plenty right now in Ireland. And a lot of these skills that we spoke about are in the skill shortage. So you know, courses, IT professionals, professionals in pharma, professionals in biotech, finance professionals, they are in a skill shortage there. That means they have jobs, but they don't have enough people to work. So it's again a big benefit for you if you're in that kind of a sector, because you'll get jobs very, very easily. Right, let's talk a little about the education system. It's a small education system. Like we said, it's a small country, right? So there are only 7 universities in Ireland. There are 14 institutes of technology and 7 colleges of education, right? The education system is governed by the Higher Education Authority. So as long as you're studying in an institute which is HEA approved, you're in an absolute safe zone. So you don't have to worry at all, right? A lot of students ask me what's the difference between a university and an institute and a college. I would say they all have their own purpose to serve. Universities are more research focused. That's why they call universities. Institutes of technology and colleges are more focused towards skill-based programs. So they're more focused on taught programs, right? So depending on what kind of a course you want to do, depending on what your career ambitions are, you can choose whether you want to study in a university or an institute of technology. They all pretty much are at par in terms of the quality of education. You might find that some have better facilities, some may lack on certain facilities, but overall, because they all are governed by the same body, you will find that they're pretty much at par in terms of the quality of their education, right? Like we said, that Ireland has a limited number of institutes, but they are very, very good quality, because they don't, it is the funding that they receive doesn't have to be shared between too many institutes. So they're more focused on having a limited number of institutes, but ensuring that the quality is really, really good. Right, what are the popular courses that students are going for in Ireland? So like I said, the most popular courses are IT related courses. I would say close to 40% of the students that are going to Ireland right now are going for IT courses. So courses like computing, data analytics, big data, cloud computing, information systems, cybersecurity, machine learning are extremely popular. It's also a popular place to study business courses. So some of the courses like marketing, digital marketing, management, economics, food business are very popular in Ireland, right? Again, very popular for finance courses. Like we discussed, it has a massive finance sector, so very popular for finance courses. So you'll find courses in accounting, general finance, asset management, actual science, right? A lot of insurance companies. So again, actual sciences have very good scope there. Again, aviation management and aviation finance are popular courses. So a lot of students who want to make a career in the aviation sector choose these kind of courses. Engineering, all the branches of engineering are pretty much available. So automotive, aerospace, mechanical are the popular courses that students go for. Even electrical engineering is popular. Very, very well known for biotechnology because of the presence of the pharma sector. A lot of research work is done in biotech. So biotech courses are very popular. Within pharma, again, pharmaceutical engineering, M pharma, B pharma, pharmaceutical business. These are some of the courses that are popular in Ireland. Bear in mind, these are just the ones we have listed here, but pretty much every course that you can think of is available in Ireland. So these are some of the popular courses we've listed, but there are over 300 to 400 courses that are available that you can choose from. So there are a lot of choices there. Right, what are the minimum entry requirements to study in Canada? Ireland. Undergrad courses, you require a 6 in IELTS with a no band less than 5.5. And the minimum score that you'll require in your 10th is between 65 to 85%. Normally, anybody below 60% would find it very hard to get through to a university. So on a case-to-case basis, again, this is something that can be looked into. For postgrad courses, you need a 6.5 in IELTS with no band less than 6. And the minimum percentage that you require is 60%, which is, as per India, is the first division, right? 60 to 75%. A lot of colleges and universities also accept 55% plus. But again, the entry criteria varies from course to course and depends on an individual profile. So this is just a guideline, but if you want to discuss your specific profile, we can always have a look at your profile and guide you whether you are eligible to apply or not. Like I said, it depends on courses. Every course has a different eligibility criteria. Things like work experience, things like extracurricular activities also play a role in the admission process. So if you're academically a little poor, there are other things that can compensate for that academics. So don't think it's the end of the world if you don't have the required marks. There's always a way out. Right, what are the application deadlines and the intakes? So the main intake in Ireland is September intake, right? And there are a few colleges that also offer a January intake. As such, there are no specific deadlines for applications, but we have seen mostly courses start closing by May. This year we've seen a very high increase in the number of applications that are going through to Ireland. So we've seen a lot of courses closed as early as February, especially courses in data analytics, courses in computing closed very early this year. So we always recommend to start applying as early as October for the next year. So if you're targeting to go in the September 2019 intake, we would advise you start your applications by October 18. Bear in mind, a lot of courses and a lot of colleges are still open for the September 18 intake. So you still have time to apply for the September 18 intake in case that's the option you want. Right, moving on. What is the funding that is required to study in Ireland? So courses vary from 8 lakhs to 14 lakhs per annum. That depends on the college, the university, and the location. I would say majority of the courses are between 10 lakhs to 12 lakhs. Only some are on the expensive side or some are on the reasonable side, but majority would be between 10 to 12 lakhs per annum. Living expenses is 8.5 lakhs per year. So if you want to live there without working part-time, you will need approximately 8 lakh rupees to survive in the country, right? Bear in mind that all masters in Ireland are 1 year masters. So you save time, you save money. So typically just the 1 year fees is what you would require to pay, and by studying for 1 year, you get a 2 year work permit. So it's very good value for money in that sense, and good opportunity of getting a good ROI because you're spending only for a year and you're able to earn for 2 years. Right, scholarships. There is a wide range of scholarships that are available in Ireland. There are different types of scholarships. There are internal scholarships, there are external scholarships that are available. So some scholarships are awarded by the university, some are awarded by external bodies, right? The range of the scholarships, or in terms of the quantum of the scholarship, normally we've seen ranges from 10% to 50% of the tuition fees. So say if your tuition fees is 10 lakhs, it may come down to around 5 lakhs. In some rare cases or some very merit-based students cases, we've seen they've got even 100% scholarship. But obviously, these are very exceptional profiles. These are very good students with very good grades throughout their 10th, 12th, and their bachelors. But otherwise, up to 50% is very possible. So even if you are kind of a 65, 70% kind of a student, you can aim for scholarships that are up to 50%, right? Like we said that the scholarships are merit-based, so it all depends on how good your academics are. Some scholarships will require a separate application, a separate essay. So you have to write an essay explaining why you deserve the scholarship. And some are default scholarships. When you apply, the university, if they find you suitable for a scholarship, they will award you a scholarship by default, right? The application deadline for the ones which you have to apply separately for is normally between March and April. So again, the advantage of starting your application early is that you have enough time to apply for scholarships. If you start your applications late, you may not get time to apply for scholarships because you have to apply for scholarships after your application has been accepted. So first you have to get an offer letter, only then you can apply for scholarships. Right, what can we do for you? How do we help? Right, so we can give you complete guidance of studying in Ireland. We can help you shortlist universities. So on the basis of your profile, on the basis of your budget, on the basis of the feedback of our students, our own database, we suggest universities to you, and then you can shortlist universities from there. We also focus on shortlisting career-oriented courses. That means we give you courses where you have a good chance of getting a job, right? Or at least we guide you with that process, right? We take care of the entire application process. We help you with the scholarships. We help you with education loans. We help you with the entire documentation. Once you get your admission, we'll also help you with the visa process. We'll help you with pre-departure services. Once you reach there also, we'll get you connected to our students. So you'll have help for accommodation and all the other things. And we also provide IELTS and PTE coaching. So those of you who want to give the IELTS exam, we even provide coaching support for that, right? Our offices are in, like I said, Delhi, Pune, Gurgaon, and Ahmednagar. So this is the respective address for our offices. You can always give us a call on the number listed and take up an appointment with any of our counselors who will then guide you with the entire process and provide one-to-one counseling. Right, that's pretty much it as far as the presentation on Ireland is concerned.